Hello everyone, welcome to 6.81 and the Dota 2 Spring Cleaning Update. I'm Myzzrym and I'm gonna go over the big changes of this patch with you. So we'll start with the Aghanim upgrades. You may have noticed that on the list there has been some couple of changes on Aghanim upgrades on some heroes, and we'll start with Abaddon. So Abaddon, his old Aghanim upgrade used to just increase the borrow time duration, and now during that duration, borrow time also takes 35% of the damage taken by allies hero in 900 radius. So that's pretty huge. That's 1/3 of the damage disappearing. So for example, you can see the damage I'm doing to Jakiro right now. But if I use my borrow time right now, you'll see that Jakiro takes less damage, and I also healed while Jakiro was taking damage. So we're gonna start again, and there we go. You see? So that kind of negates the fact that oh, it's Abaddon. We'll just have to ignore him and just kill his allies while he's in board time, because with an Aghanim Scepter, he can now just take away the damage of his entire team. So he's effectively mitigating the damage all his allies are taking, and you can't really ignore it anymore. The problem, of course, is that Aghanim Scepter is still pretty expensive. So Abaddon, since he's usually played as a support, you'll see him going for mech, for 4 staff sometimes, and it's kind of rare that he can afford Aghanim Scepter. But considering how big the buff is, if you have a big teamfight comp, it is possible that Abaddon will now be going for this Aghanim Scepter upgrade. Alright, so we're gonna go on to Lina. So Lina, it's pretty simple. Her Aghanim upgrade is just that she can now use her ultimate through BKB, through magic immunity. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, okay. There we go. I didn't pick up Aghanim upgrade. So Aghanim Scepter now increase the damage. No, wait. It does increase the damage. It increased the range as well. So 900 range, which is pretty huge. You can see the AoE circle here, and it also goes through magic immunity now. So I'm not really sure it still warrants a must buy or something. The range is very nice because it allows you to snipe the backline without just going and getting killed yourself, since you're pretty squishy. And the slicing through magic immunity is also pretty nice because the guys you want to kill usually are the carries, and those guys usually go for BKB. Although if you have some prior initiation, you can just blink dagger in and Laguna Blade when the enemy is stunned by, let's say, a Beastmaster Roar or something. So I'm not really sure if Lina's gonna go for the Aghanim Scepter. First of all, we don't really see her picked in the competitive scene anyway, and since she's usually played as a support, you may want to, like, if you have gold, buy like 4 staff, blink dagger, mobility items that allow you to land a easy light strike array. So if you have the gold, you may go for Aghanim Scepter, but I'm not really sure it's that much worth it. Let's go on to Jakiro. So Jakiro has received a huge buff. Macropyre is, his ultimate Macropyre just does this, AoE damage if you are standing on it, and it lasts 7 seconds. It actually deals quite a bit of damage, but usually people just don't stand on it. So what happened is Aghanim Scepter doubles the range. It goes from 900 to 1800 range, which is huge. As you can see, Jakiro is here and the limited range is there. And it also increased the damage and the duration. So the duration doubles as well, and the damage is increased. So right now you can just use the Macropyre and force the enemy to, for example, if you're defending a tower or if you're pushing it, you're denying an entire area for 14 seconds, which is huge. And Jakiro has already started being picked, and in competitive games now, and there has been a good use of Liquid Fire, which slows down the attack and also burns, deals the damage over time, and it works on towers. And Liquid Fire has also been buffed. The duration, the cooldown is now 4 seconds instead of 5 seconds at max level, so it's a little bit of a buff. And I think Dual Breast also increased a tiny bit of range, but it's not too huge. It's just the Aghanim upgrade is really good now. So now we'll go on to Keeper of the Light. So Keeper of the Light, I can't really show you right now, but basically once he picks the Aghanim Scepter, he is in spirited form all the time. That means he gains all the benefit from his ultimate. He can recall allies and everything. He doesn't even need to use spirit form anymore. So what happened is it also gives him during daytime unobstructed vision, just like you know, Night Stalker. Night Stalker just he can see through trees during the night with a scepter, and Keeper of the Light can do the same thing during day. And also during the day, Illuminate will heal allies for 75 of its damage value. So we'll have to see if it's only during day or if it's because I wasn't in range. So let's see. Yeah, I think it's only during day. So we'll go back to Keeper of the Light after when day actually hits. Lich. Oh, Lich is kind of a funny upgrade. So basically, Lich with the Aghanim Scepter, his ultimate doesn't have a bounce limit anymore, so you can just use the ultimate and it's gonna bounce forever as long as there's 2 units or more. Alright, so I think everyone just understood how funny this new upgrade is. I'm not really sure it's super good anyway, because usually when you have Change Frost, the thing is people will just move away, and Chain Frost usually doesn't bounce the entirety of the 10 times. If it does, it's already dealing a lot of damage, and usually it will be bouncing on creeps or something. But I'm highly doubting that the Aghanim Scepter upgrade is just that good. So I'm not really sure Lich will go for the Aghanim upgrade anyway. You know, Lich, I feel like he's better going as a support for, as I said again, you know, mech. Maybe pipe if you really need one, and you know, going hard support and getting wards and stuff. So not really sure Aghanim Scepter upgrade is a good choice on Lich. Another thing that's very important on Lich now is that Ice Armor can be cast on structures, so you can effectively buff your you know, your towers and everything, and that's pretty nifty for defense. So okay, Lina, we went over it. Omni Knight. Alright, so Omni Knight is just a little buff. It's just increasing the duration a bit more. And so the duration, the radius becomes global as it was before. And the base duration of Guardian Angel also increased. It was, I think, 5, 6, 7, and now it's 6, 7, 8. And with the Scepter, it's 8, 9, 10. Which makes it 10 seconds off Guardian Angel, which is pretty great. And also Repel doesn't dispel the positive buffs anymore from allies. So before that, what happened is if you use Guardian Angel and you use Repel right after, it will just take away the Guardian Angel. Now it doesn't happen anymore. You have the Repel and the Guardian Angel instead of just getting the Repel. So before you had to use Repel and then use Guardian Angel. Now it's just like, you know, the same thing. We go on to Shadow Demon. So Shadow Demon, oh, okay, so yeah, just Keeper of the Light, you can see that he can see through trees right now, right? And we'll see if he effectively heals during the day, so let's deal some damage to him. Right, okay. So you see, Lich is getting healed by 75% of the damage dealt by Illuminate. Although it seems like Keeper of the Light doesn't heal himself, it's only his allies. So we'll have to see the rage on another video with deeper testing. So Shadow Demon, his increase makes that he now have Demonic Purge as charges. So it's just like the old ones, but instead of having, you know, instead of just using one and going on cooldown, it has charges like you know, Fire Remnant and stuff. So you can see here you have the little charge and the little, you know, cooldown going on here. So you can use 2 in rapid succession, which is pretty good in team fights on late game. But I doubt the fact that Shadow Demon will be able to afford such item because well, you know, hard support life, not really easy to get that. Windrunner has a also buffed Aghanim Scepter upgrade. Now the damage reduction is just 30%, 15%, 0%. And it also removes the penalty from the unique attack modifiers. So for example, if you're using Maelstrom, it will not reduce the Maelstrom lightning damage. And it also reduced the cooldown to 15 seconds. So it used to be an upgrade that no one went for because, I mean, Windrunner, if you have, well, Windranger now, if you have gold, you would just go for semi-carry build, like, the, you know, go into Daedalus after you get Sight of Vice and Forge Staff and stuff like that. I'm not really sure you will be seeing Aghanim Scepter, but Since the damage reduction at level 16 is now 0% and 15-second cooldown only, it may be very, very powerful. I mean, it gives you max attack speed, and if you have something like a Daedalus and a 0% damage reduction, not cooldown, it's just gonna rip through enemies. It's still one slot and it's still pretty expensive, but it also increases a lot of stats that Ranger kind of need. You know, giving her a little bit of HP, mana, as well as a little bit of every stat. So it's not a worthless item anymore. At least it used to be like Puck's Aghanim upgrade, which was kind of like the worst upgrades and things you would never buy. But now it's no longer the case. Let's see if it's okay. So you still have to be pretty close to heal your allies. Lina, you can see here, the Illuminate hit our dear friend Abaddon, yet she wasn't healed. Keeper of the Light was healed though, so I may be wrong on the fact that it didn't heal him. Okay, so we'll have to see that in a later, later update. So we'll go over the, general changes now. We have Ancient Apparition, a little bit more attack speed reduction on his Chilling Touch, because every team now use Ancient Apparition for the big, Chilling Touch buff that deals a lot of damage. Anti-Mage, Mana Void keep on increasing AoE, so soon the Mana Void will just deal the damage to your entire team. Axe, the Counter Helix now use PRC, so Pseudo Random Chance, which means it's not longer just pure luck. The more you don't spin, and the more chance you will have to spin. But it also means that the the incredibly lucky 4 spins in a row will not happen anymore. Batriders gets another nerf, so mana cost on Lasso increased by 75, Beastmaster a little bit of buff, base damage increased by 4, Bloodseeker, Blood Rage cast point improved to 0.4. This is very good because Bloodseeker has one of the longest cast animation. If you remember my video Advanced Mechanic on Clockwork, Bloodseeker is one of the guys who can't cast any spells if he is caught in the Battery Assault himself with a Clockwork, because his cast time is just so long. So 0.4 means that he will now be able to at least cast Blood Rage, and most important, Blood Rage can no longer be dispelled. So BKB Manta will not remove the silence, which is very good if you really want to catch someone like, let's say, an Anti-Mage, and you have Blood Rage level 1, because if you have Blood Rage level 4, oh god forbid, you will be buffing his damage so much that he will just tear you a new one. But with the Blood Rage level 1, at least he will not be able to just Manta and blink away. Bounty Hunter, a little bit of buff, so track range increased to 1200 at all levels. Brewmaster, if you have not been attacked or if you have not attacked for 10 seconds, the next hit will always crit, or you will always evade the next attack, which is, I don't really know about this, it's kind of gimmicky. You are very rarely not attacking or not getting attacked for 10 seconds. So I guess that's a bit of a plus if you want to gank with your Blink Dagger and you just move around and blink in and just lands a crit immediately, and it's always a little bit of better damage. It's a buff overall because it's not even overall, it's just a buff, but it just seems to maybe a little bit of a weird buff. I would have seen less than 10 seconds. I mean, 10 seconds really mean it's only for a very specific situation. As I said, you're running around in smoke gank, so you're not attacking anything, and then you just get out and get one hit. It's not even like Janata, let's say, for Bounty Hunter, which has a 6-second cooldown or something. So, Bristleback, Warpath. Now, the Warpath has just save value for every stack, for the movement speed at least. So instead of having 5% plus 1 for every additional cast, it's now 3% at level 6 for every cast. So as you can see here, it's very well detailed. Instead of going from 5 to 9%, it goes from 3 to 15%. So overall, I think it's a very big buff. You can see that the max value goes higher than the old value. Of course, if you use one spell only, it's going to be a nerf. But as soon as you cast 2 spells, which is very quick with Bristleback, you will be going back to the normal value. Broodmother has received huge buffs because she got pretty much nailed on the last patch. Spiraling Poison Sting damage increased from 4 to 8, the damage per second. I don't really like this upgrade because Spiderlings were already a pain in the ass to deal with when you were a support. When you're a carry and you're dealing huge damage, you don't really mind about that, you just kill the spiderlings. But when you're a support, oh god, in the lane, you have those little spiderlings following you everywhere and just like chipping away at your HP. It's just like, you know, Lycan's wolf, but you have more of them. So spiderlings, you know, it's more annoying. Now free pathing also no longer deactivate when the enemy has vision of Broodmother. Very good. Free pathing is now disabled for 3 seconds when Broodmother takes damage, just like Blink Dagger. So same damage source as Blink Dagger, meaning that creeps, they do not take away your Blink Dagger. I mean your free pathing is just going to be heroes and hero controlled units. And her ultimate also is buffed by 20%. You see the Hunger Lifesteal just increased from 40 to 60, and max level it's 80 to 100, so that's pretty nice. Centaur, big nerf. I always said that Centaur, the big problem about Centaur is he had no mana management whatsoever, because it was just so cheap. His mana cost, he only has Hoop Stomp and his ultimate Stampede, and both of the mana cost on those two skills, it was dirt cheap. So you could just go around and you see Centaur War Runner, buying mech, and he's a strength hero with very low intelligence gain, just because he just has so little mana to spend. His spells are just so cheap. So now it's going to be better. You see that it's 130 at old level, so Centaur War Runner will be like Sven in the early game. He won't be able to just dish out those hoof stomps all the time. He will be having to choose, if I stomp here this time, I won't be able to stomp for the next 20 seconds or whatever. So that's pretty nice, especially since we see Centaur a lot now in the pro scene. So that means it's a warranted nerf. Chaos Knight, very funny update for him. Phantasm now has a 50% chance to create 1 extra illusion when cast. So I guess that goes with the old theme of Chaos. I'm not really sure the illusion is, how strong the illusion is. We'll have to test. So create hero, and we'll get a Chaos Knight. Alright, so let's level him up, and I want to see if the Phantasm illusion is as strong as a Phantasm illusion, because that would be very strong. Oh, okay, so you basically have to be using the ultimate if you want an illusion to spawn. So let's see. Apparently it's not summoning any extra illusions, so maybe... Okay. So it must be when an illusion is dead, I guess. We'll have to see that. So let's see again. So we're gonna kill this illusion, and we're gonna go. So there we go, there we go, there we go. Nope. Not working. So I'm not really sure if it's bugged right now or if it's Oh wait, I'm dumb. I am really dumb. It's not about the it's not about the reality rift. It's about the Phantasm. I read that wrong. So yeah. So this is 3. This is 4. Okay, so you have 50% of summoning 1 more than the regular amount, which is always nice. I mean, that's cool. So Chen, Penitence reduced cooldown from 14 to 14, 13, 12, 11. So that's a little bit of a buff for Chen. Clanks, you see a buff as well, so the reduced cooldown on his death pack. Dazzle, Poison Touch no longer causes a Ministun, so that's pretty big. As you remember, Dazzle, he used to Ministun as soon as the Poison Touch hits, and then you had the slow. So that means if you had an Enigma using the Black Hole, you would just Poison Touch him and the Black Hole will be cancelled immediately. So that's very big. Now Dazzle can't Ministun, can't stop TPs, because the Poison Touch stun, it takes 2 seconds to get here. So if someone is TPing away, you can no longer Poison Touch him to cancel the TP and just catch him afterwards. Disruptor kinetic field cooldown reduced, so that's pretty nice buff for him. Doom, a big nerf. Doom, the damage no longer ignores magic shield. So that means, you know, Pipe of Insight, for example, if you have the 400 damage reduction, Doom will first have to take away the 400 damage through the shield, and then only start to chip away at your HP. So Doom will deal a lot less damage when you know, when we go on to this. So Draw Ranger Gust knockback increased from 0.2 to 0.5 duration. So that's pretty nice. It disables more or less for a little bit more. Earth Spirit, a little bit of buff, so recharge time for the Remnant reduced from 35 to 30. So that's gonna be, you know, pretty happy time for all the Earth Spirit players. And now that he has been, you know, nerfed pretty hard, because it's a lot harder to play him now than it was before when he was released on Dota 2, where it was pretty much a free win if you could play him decently. And now with the, you know, new buff, because it's not really a buff, it's just that it goes back to 30 seconds. It was 30 seconds. I think it's better. We'll see him maybe a bit more, and we'll probably see players starting to play him more. So Earthshaker creeps no longer try to path around Fissure, they wait for it to disappear, which is pretty huge, so you can't really now, you know, pull the creeps into the entrance anymore when you are on the dire side. Before that, you would just Fissure the lane, so the creeps will go around, and then you pull the entrance, and the creeps will start attacking the entrance. Now you can't do that anymore, because the creeps will just AFK in front of the Fissure. Echo Slam no longer ignores units that are invisible or in the fog of war, so that's nice as well. L Titan, Echo Stomp, mana cost reduced and damage increased, which is very nice, because Echo Stomp was pretty much a spell that L Titan players ignored. They would just go for the Spirit and the Aura because it's just so good, and the Echo Stomp would come very much later. So now you have a reason to at least upgrade Echo Stomp. Before that, you take one level in it, and that's pretty much all. The damage doesn't increase, the mana cost increase, so why the hell would you increase that? You know, get more points in the ability. The sleep is taken off as soon as they get attacked anyway. So Ember Spirit, a big nerf. So the Searing Chain's duration reduced from 2233 to 1223. So you can't really go for the 1 point in Searing Chain, then max the shield and get 1 point in Fist anymore, and be as powerful as you were before. The damage is still the same. So you see that even though you are only dealing the damage, only having 1 second duration on Searing Chain at level 1, it's still 80 damage. It's not gonna be like, you know, shitty ass 40 damage or something. Slate of Fist, the bonus also decreased pretty heavily. So from 120 to 2080, but the cooldown is still the same, so that means you will still be able to spam the Slate of Fist. And I'm not really sure it was necessary to nerf the early, the early levels of Slate of Fist, because the early levels of Slate of Fist are balanced in the way that the cooldown is just too huge anyway, so you can't really spam it. But it's pretty nice that Slate of Fist has been nerfed in damage. I would have seen either a nerf in damage, in cooldown, not really in cooldown, because that's kind of what makes the hero, and Ice Rock doesn't like to nerf the strength of a hero. He really likes to increase the the weaknesses of the hero, but not nerf the strength straight away like Riot likes to do. So I would have seen like a decrease in AoE in the Slate of Fist at least, because it's just too huge at the moment. So Enchantress, the untouchable slow duration increased from 3 to 4 seconds. So okay, why not? Enigma, Midnight Pulse, area of effect increased from 400 to 600. That's nice. Faceless Void, a little bit of a buff, so more agility and turn rate improved, which is a little bit nice. Gyrocopter, homing missile now hits invisible unit, and it takes more hits to destroy it. Something else that you may have not noticed here, but it's on the big fix list. Homing missile no longer shows an indicator on the enemy, for the enemy, so that he will no longer know that you're targeting him, at least, if as long as the missile is not visible. So it will be a lot harder to destroy the missile now. 3 hits sometimes is already hard, especially if you're a melee hero and you have only 1 ally around. But now with 5 hits, it's pretty much impossible to destroy unless you're in late game and you have a lot of attack speed and your range, or you have your entire team with you. and still it just forces your team to focus on something. Huskar, Burning Spear, no longer an attack modifier, so that means you can stack the Burning Spear with the lifesteal, which was something that players used to do, just like use Burning Spear and then switch to lifesteal when you were low on HP, and now you can just do both. Invoker, Ghost Walk, no longer slow magic immune enemies. That's pretty much normal in my opinion. And EMP delay increased 0.3 seconds more. So it's a little bit of a nerf, but it's welcome since the Tornado EMP was kind of very annoying anyway. Jakiro, we already talked about him, so little increase in range of Dual Breath. And Liquid Fire's cooldown, and then his ultimate be just going insanely powerful. Juggernaut base attack time improved from 1.6 to 1.5, so that's very good. That means Juggernaut, for those who don't understand base attack time, the lower it is and the more bonus you get from an increased attack speed. So that means with the same items than before, Juggernaut will now attack faster than before. So he will be dealing more damage, extra slashes on Omni Slash, and etc, etc. And he will also be able to carry a bit harder. Keeper of the Light Word is set. Torrent, big buffs. No, Kunkka, big buffs. Torrent AoE increased by 10. Okay. X marks the spot. Now lasts twice as long as ally hero. So you can now go and, for example, use X on an ally, and this ally can go and hit the tower, and if the enemy start initiating on that ally, you can just X mark him away. So it's pretty much like if you had a Vengeful Spirit in your own team, and your ally would just go in, and if he gets caught while going in, you can just swap him away, but you still sacrifice the Vengeful Spirit. With the X marks the spot, you can just do that and not sacrifice anyone, because Kunkka is just far away behind, and he just has to press D, and suddenly your ally is just off the mark. He is fine, he's safe, and that's pretty... I don't really know if I like it, because that just warrants just chipping away at the tower and preventing those fights. Ghost ship ally buffs increased by 2 seconds and now have an AoE indicator. So the AoE indicator was pretty much expected, because why didn't it have an AoE indicator in the first place, right? So Ghost Ship AoE, that was nice. I'm not really sure about all the buff to Kunkka though. I know that Ice Frog has kind of a hard-on on Kunkka, and he loves when Xiao8 was playing him when he was back in LGD right before the TI3. Well, we'll have to see. It's not like Kunkka is a first pick anyway, so at least we'll have to see the buffs. So overwhelming. So Legion Commander, we have a lot more bonus damage per hero. It went from 1420 to 2065. So now if you, the creeps is still 14 to 20. So now if you hit several heroes, you're gonna have a huge damage boost. It's gonna be insane. The AoE also increased, and the damage is rescaled. So you deal a little bit less damage, but still dealing. The damage increase is just like you go from 20 to 65 at max level if you hit a hero. That's incredible. Moment of Courage also now use a pseudo random chance. So just like a Axis Spin, you will have less time where you don't have any Moment of Courage proccing, and you will have less chance of having like 3 Counter Strike in a row in the face and just go like, what the hell, this hero is broken. Leshrac Lightning Storm now slows the target by 75% for 0.5 seconds, which is always very nice. That screws up with the enemy positioning very much, because when you're not used to that, you're not used to having your hero just suddenly for half a second just moving very slow. Although in the long run you may say that it's fine, it's nothing. It's actually really huge, because you have to readapt to the Lightning Storm. So Lich, Frost Armor, as I said, cast on Building and Aghanim Scepter, we already talked about it. Lina, attack range increased by 20 again. So Lina, at the moment, without techies, is the hero that has the most attack range. You really have a long attack range. Most heroes now, range heroes, the best range, I think it's 600 or 625, and Lina is like 670. So it kind of pays off considering her shitty ass attack animation with a huge wind up, but at least you will be able to harass pretty easily. Lion buffed, I'm not really sure if it was necessary. I guess yes, because he wasn't picked that much. So the Hex cooldown at low level, at the higher level, is now 12 maximum. Then Lone Druid, the Spirit Bearer health regeneration is going from 2 to 2.5 at max level. Okay, why not? Luna base agility nerfed by 4, so maybe we'll see a little bit less of Luna picks. Lycan Shapeshift no longer provides bonus health, so that's pretty huge. You will be, I mean, Lycan already is pretty squishy if he doesn't go for those BKB builds. And right now, Lycan is played as usually a red Dota hero, so you will just go around and try to destroy towers, and without this bonus health, you will be even more squishy than before. So it will be a little bit easier to stop a Lycan than before, which is always good because red Dota is not really enjoyable to watch, at least. Magnus removes skewer maximum target limit, so you can go again and skewer 4 or 5 heroes at level 1. Not really sure it's necessary, but you know, why not? And skewer range increased at lower levels, so that's making Magnus a little bit of a safer pick in the off lane. If you remember, he used to be, when he arrived in Dota 2, a very good off lane pick, but then his skewer range got nerfed to what it was today. Before that, it was 1,200 at all levels, so you can just safely skewer away at all levels in the off lane. Now, with 600, that was not enough, and 750, it's you know, it's decent. So maybe we'll see Magnus again. Medusa split shot rework, instead of hitting 5 targets at all level and just increasing the damage percentage, you have the same damage percentage, which is 80%, and the maximum target is the value getting increased. So that's pretty nice. That makes split shot less worthless at lower level. And it also makes it so you can you know, start jungling with only 1 or 2 level in split shot and deal some good damage. Mystic Snake no longer requires Fog of War vision to bounce. That's very nice as well. It makes it so you basically you can still use the Mystic Snake and no longer have to chase after the enemy for it to bounce on them. And the mana shield damage absorption is increased at lower level, which is always nice as well. Meepo movement speed increased. Mirana Sacred Arrow vision reduced, so you can scout a little bit less effectively. It's still 650, so it's still a huge AoE anyway. Naga Siren, so mirror image illusion damage is reduced by quite a big amount as well. 45% to 35%, that's 10% reduction. So that's big. And you have to consider that all the illusions are going to get that nerf, so it's a big nerf of 40% in total, and that's huge. Riptide also, the AoE has been reduced, and the negative armor reduction does no longer go through magic immunity. So Naga Siren, huge nerfs. We saw a good amount of Naga Siren, and it was pretty annoying. I'm not really sure that's not going to kill the hero. We'll have to see. So Necrophos, Heartstopper Aura now has increased AoE, so 200 more, and Reaper Sight now adds a plus 30% duration to the respawn timer, even without Aghanim Scepter. So Aghanim Scepter, you know, disables the respawn timer. It disables the buyback mechanic. And Reaper Sight, the fact that it also now adds duration to the respawn timer is very annoying to the hero that you're going to kill. So Night Stalker Darkness also affect the vision of buildings. That's pretty nice. Nyx Assassin cooldown on Impale increased, and it can no longer be blocked by Lincoln Sphere. Ogre Magi base armor increased by 1, and the cast animation improved. Not really sure if it's a buff or if it was already the case, because if you remember on my Clockwork video, I said Ogre Magi wasn't supposed to be able to cast under Clockwork's Battery Assault, yet he was able to cast. So that means his cast animation was already under 0.5, under 0.55. So maybe it's just it was already 0.45, but they didn't say it. I don't know. So Omni-Knight Purification AoE increased by 15, so more AoE to deal damage. And the rest I already talked about. Phantom Assassin Slipping Dagger cooldown reduced from 8 to 6. And Blur Evasion increased by 10 at max level, which is huge as well. So that's very, very nice. 50% invasion is very annoying to play against, so it's pretty much forcing you to buy a MKB. Phoenix getting a little bit of a nerf, that's very nice. Accurate cast point now 0.2, and that's actually the biggest thing here, because Before that, Icarus Dive was pretty much a get out of jail for free card. It has no cast time whatsoever, 0.01, and you go just faster than most stun projectile. Like you use Magic Missile, you use a Storm Bolt, Phineas just sees that and says, okay, screw that, I'm out of here. And then you have the Magic Missile following him, but by the time you just stop the Icarus Dive at your save point and you get stunned, you're already, you know, out of danger. So the fact that it adds a little bit of a cast time now means that he will be less responsive. It will be harder to just have those insta, oh, I'm getting out of there. And okay, so afterwards, Fire Spirit damage reduced by a bit. So the damage reduction is not that great. I mean, it's you know, 5. It's you know, at max level, if you count this, it's gonna be 20. It's gonna be 80 max damage. So 4 seconds for 4 seconds for each spirit. So that makes 20 damage less for each spirit, and times times 4. That's 80 damage reduction in total. So at lower level, you may feel the 80 damage less, but at higher level, it's just like you know, you go from 1,200 maximum damage to 1,120 maximum damage, which is really nothing as a nerf. The bigger nerf though is the health cost increased by 5%. It's always nice. You know, it forces Phoenix to play a little bit more dangerously. Pugna, Decrepify mana cost reduced from 100 to 60, so that's nice. Nether Ward duration increased, that's nice as well. And also the sound of the Nether Ward is only heard by allies now. Queen of Pain, Shadow Strike, the range is increased, the cast range is increased, and the cooldown is decreased. Okay, why not? That makes Queen of Pain very hard to move away from if you're just trying to, you know, get away. 4-second cooldown on Shadow Strike, that means as long as she has mana, she can just blink at you and just slow you permanently. Razor, more strength gain, so that's pretty nice. That makes him a little bit more tanky. He always needs that. And Unstable Current slow duration increased, so why not? Ricky Backstab now works when attacking allied units, so that's very good for denying your creeps. It may be making him very hard to play against if you have a, you know, weaker lane, because he's just gonna be able to deny everything. Shadow Demon, we already went on it. Shadow Fiend, the ultimate debuff now affect magic immune units. Silencer, agility growth increased, so he will be attacking faster and have more armor. And the Curse of the Silent cooldown is reduced, although not really sure that's something that's that big. Skywrath Mage, movement speed increased by 10, that's nice. 325 is actually very fast. It's I think it's as fast as a Chaos Knight, so that's pretty nice. Concussive Shot damage increased, always nice as well. Sniper fixed Sniper's acquisition range not matching his maximum attack range, so that's nice because it was very annoying. Before that, you know, with the buffs, Sniper has a huge new attack range, but if you wanted to attack, you had to move closer than that because he wouldn't acquire the target, which was pretty stupid. Spirit Breaker, Nether Strike cast range, so his ultimate cast range increased to 700 at max level, at all level I mean, so that's nice. You will be able to just catch enemies, you know, closer, catch enemies who are farther from you. And the cooldown is rebalanced to 80, 70, 60, so more ultimate at max level, a little bit less at lower level. Sven, base damage increased by 6, that's nice. Templar Assassin, Psionic Trap sub-ability now has the same cast point as the ability on Trap itself. So that means previously the sub-ability and the ability had different cast behavior, so now it's both the 0. Before that you had to use the Trap because otherwise if you use the Blow Trap ability on TA, she would stop for a moment, so it would hurt your chase. Now making the trap explode on TA doesn't make her stop anymore, so you can keep on chasing, and that's very nice because it was kind of a very weird mechanic. Terrorblade nerfs, so that's nice. We'll see less Terrorblade now in pub, hopefully. Strength gain reduced from 1.9 to 1.4, so he was as thin as paper before, but now he's as thin as a wet toilet paper, so he can be killed very easily if he has no items. Reflection Slow no longer persists to magic immunity, thanks God, and the duration is rebalanced from 5 to 2.5 to 5.5. So it's no longer 1 point wonder that you can just basically kill anyone with it at level 2 or 3 when you get 1 or 2 level in Metamorphosis and you learn 1 reflection, it's basically game over for the enemy. Anchor Smash damage reduction increased from 40 to 60%. That's huge as well for Tidehunter. That means that you will take away even more damage than before, and it also now works on Ancient Creeps, not on Roshan. Tinker Heat-Seeking Missile no longer blocked by Ethereal Form. That's just a fix. In Dota 1, that was the case. I mean, it's Heat-Seeking Missile would not shoot at Ethereal units because of the way the spell worked. But it's not logic, as Heat-Seeking Missile deals magic damage. So technically, Ethereal should just increase the damage you take from Heat-Seeking Missile and not just negate it. Tiny, craggy exterior, stun duration rescaled, not a big change. Troll, melee, walling axes, cast point improved from 0.2 to 0, so that means you can just cast them while walking without stopping. Tusk, rework Snowball into a 2-part ability. One which creates a snowball and a sub-ability to launch a snowball. You have up to 4 seconds to use the sub-ability. The area that automatically pulls allies had been reduced. So you can now load an ally into your snowball within 400 by right-clicking on them, and snowball move 75 ms faster for each allied hero inside of it, and deals extra damage for each additional hero inside it. So you can see here the new Snowball Tusk rolling into a snowball, automatically gathering allies within 100 radius. So that means basically you really have to be next, or I mean, just hugging Tusk to be taken into the snowball. The other allies, it's basically the Tusk which can right-click him. So you can choose the allies which are taken into the snowball now, which is very nice because you never wanted to basically take your AD or your hard carry into the snowball if it's, for example, a draw ranger, and then she's fucked because you just go into the enemy. All right. Okay. So Undying, Soul Rip area increased to 1,300. So Soul Rip, the area of effect now, you have a very huge AOE. Zombies death lost on max percentage HP increased, so that means the zombies will be easier, more easily in rage form and attack you and chase you faster. They no longer give experience or gold. That avoids having a alchemist on the other side just farming your zombies over and over again. The bounty on the other side of the tombstone has been increased by not so much, and the flesh Golem's Plague Aura now affects magic immune units, which is pretty nice. I mean, it's a pretty huge buff, considering that BKBs is an item that's often seen, so it will not stop the aura anymore. First swipe for Ursa is no longer an unit attack modifier, so I guess now you can go nuts, and instead of going for a Vladimir offering, you can even go for a the satanic, or you can go for something like a diffusal blade and drain all the mana from the enemy, as well as just diffusal them to purge them. They're slowed, and then you go in and first swipe them to death with the mana burn, so they can't even fight back. We'll have to test this. Vengeful Spirit, very funny buff. When you die as Vengeful Spirit, the killer has a negative vengeance aura, which means he's carrying the vengeance aura, but in the negative form, meaning it's like minus 26% damage, I guess, and it's an AoE, so it will affect his allies as well. So he will be forced to either move away from his allies and just go farm on his side, or he will have to, basically give a negative damage aura boost to his, or not boost, but nerf to his entire team. Okay, so Visage Grave Chill cooldown increased. That's nice because Visage is a pretty good support right now. So max level is still the same, but at lower level it's going to be higher in cooldown. Warlock, the Shadow Ward duration increased, so that means more healing and more damage, and Upheaval cooldown reduced from 50 to 50 to 38. So Upheaval right now is very strong. It's one of those spells which is underrated because it has a huge cast range with the previous buff, and it is very annoying. It just stacks slow so quickly, and once you use your Golem, your Link, and your Shadow Ward, you can just use the Upheaval instead of right clicking, and that's just a huge area of effect that's denied, because if you go in it, you're just so slow. Windrunner, very important. Activating Windrun now disjoint incoming attack projectile. So before that, what happened is if you have a Toru attack shot that just comes to you and you activate Windrun right after to survive, you will still die because you were not considered as having evasion when the projectile was fired. So you can't really go away with 50 HP and try to dodge the projectiles by activating Windrun. Now you can. So that's very, very huge. That just makes or breaks some of the kills you might be able to dodge. Witch Doctor. So yeah, the Aghanim we already talked about. Witch Doctor Malady cooldown reduced. So that's very nice. 15-second less cooldown. That's almost cutting the cooldown by 50%. And the Death Ward attack base attack time improved by 0.03. So well, I guess you have a little bit more attacks by the Death Ward, but that's pretty much nothing. Wraith King Mortal Strike damage ratio increased, so your crit will deal more damage, and base armor reduced by 1, so you'll be a little bit more squishy. Not really sure that's a big issue though. Zeus Arc Lightning cast point improved by 0.2, so that's very nice. You will be able to use Arc Lightning and move away faster. Lightning Bolt, the True Sight, and the Flying Vision reduced to 750. And you can now cast it on the ground, affecting the closest enemy hero in the 250 range, which is it's actually very good. One, you can actually hit enemy heroes that are, I guess, in the fog of war now because of that. I'm not really sure that works this way, but if it does, it's very nice when you're chasing someone because you may not be able to click on the guy because it's a little bit too far. But with a 250 range buffer zone, you have effectively a maximum range has increased by 250. And second, you can now de-ward with Lightning Bolt. That's really huge because you can cast it on ground. So that means the the True Sight vision will be you able to get it without hitting a target. Before that, you could use a Lightning Bolt on a creep and see when a guy was invisible. But now you can even do that on the ground. Well, if you have like a doubt, you're like, maybe they warded here, and that's like a free sentry ward. And there's not a lot of heroes who can do that. The other hero that I can think about is Slark, because the fact that his ultimate just disables the passive when you go near a ward, because you get vision, the enemy get vision on him. You can see that there's a ward there. Zeus, you can basically check by using Lightning Bolt everywhere. And it's not like he has a low mana issue because he will be getting mana items. Onto the items. So Animal Courier, you have the respawn time reduced by 40 seconds, which is always nice. Bloodstone Heal increased by 100, so from 400 to 500 plus charges. Clarity Potion now heal more mana, but over more time. So for 30 seconds it's still the same value, but you can get a little bit more mana if you get 10 extra seconds. Yule Scepter of Divinity now deals 50 damage to the enemy unit when they land. That should prevent the Blink Dagger. So that means you can Cyclone the enemy, and when they land, they're damaged so they can't blink away. That's very nice, because usually that means you wouldn't be, before that you wouldn't be able to use Yule on an enemy with Blink Dagger, because you would just effectively give him a, get out of jail for free card. And you can also cast Cyclone on yourself while you're magic immune. That's also very huge, because you can save yourself even if you're in the BKB. Mental Cell Mirror Image now reset the current attack and spell targeting priority. So that means that also affects all the image shuffle based spells. That I think means that before that, if you were attacking an enemy hero and he used Mental Cell, your hero would automatically keep attacking the real hero. And now with Mental Cell, you just it just stops your current attack, and you'll have to choose manually again. Mjolnir, the damage reduced by 10. Static Shock AoE is now centered around the unit with the static charge rather than the attacker. And the Chain Lightning not functioning properly. Okay, so yeah, now you can before that, basically, if you had a Chain Lightning that was already bouncing and you proc another one, it was doing some kind of bug. Now it's working properly. Necronomicon, so the movement speed rescaled. The warrior movement speed is decreased by 40, which is pretty high, which is pretty huge. And the bounty, the XP bounty goes from 59 to 100, 125, 200, which is huge. That means Necronomicon units, if you kill them now, you get a lot of XP. You won't be able to just throw the Necron units at the tower like nobody's business. Okay, sharing wards with an ally now requires a control key right override. Okay, wards can no longer be placed in the fountain areas. So I guess that's against the fountain farming or corridor sniper. I don't really know. Pipe, a little bit of a nerf on the HP regen side. And actually no. It reduced the health regen by 3 for the carrier, but now it also provides a insight aura which grants 4 HP per second to nearby allies. And the active buff is no longer dispellable, so you cannot purge the pipe shield anymore. So that's a huge buff for pipe. Road of Eidos, the cripple ability cooldown reduced even more, so now it's 10 seconds. So every 10 seconds you have a 4 second cooldown, 4 second slow. Side of Vice, the movement speed increased by 40, so that means the pig, instead of going 100 movement speed, it's 140. And that's only for Side of Vice, that's not for Hex. Shadow Amulet, Fade no longer requires the target to remain stationary. Okay, so that means you can move while trying to fade, and then the invisibility still requires the target to remain stationary. So you can start using the Shadow Amulet and juke, and then become invisible immediately if you stop at the right moment. Shadow Walk duration increased from 12 to 14. And TP scroll added an option to require an HAL command in order to cancel TP scroll. So before that, if you use a TP and you right click by mistake, your guy would just be moving away from the TP and cancel the TP. And now that means a TP scroll, if you want to cancel the TP, you have to press S. If I understand it well, you have to just ask for a stop. So that's pretty much it for the gameplay update 6.81. You also have the Roshan base armor increased by 1. The melee illusion created by Rune of Illusion takes only 200% damage to 300. Attack speed also continuously adjusts itself. So that means, before that, if you were starting to attack at the end of a Phoenix Spirit Fire debuff, you will still get the slow for your attack, which is pretty stupid because the debuff already ended. Now it just like suddenly, if the debuff is ended, you go back to your regular attack. So that's nice. That's a nice bug fix. And you also have some more heroes on random draft hero selection, captain's draft hero selection, and more bans on captain draft, as well as having Meepo no longer available in ability draft, so you no longer have broken abilities with United Withstand. The rest is, of course, a lot of fixes, and I invite you to read them because there's a lot of fixes that people were just used to play with those bugs. For example, the sound playing through the Fog of War, or you being able to see the trees die through the Fog of War, all those have been fixed. And for example, also being able to walk out of power cogs. Before that, even if you had destroyed one cog and you were walking away, you would take damage from another cog. You would be zapped away. And now that's no longer the case. So all those fixes, it's a bit too long to go over. I know the video is already very, very long. So I will just stop here, and I will invite you to go to Dota 2/spring cleaning and read the rest on yourself. Alright, see you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Goodbye.